I definitely would recommend you guys go to check out Rent Control. It's changed my life. I'm very grateful for my experience with Rent Control, and it did make a difference. It wasn't really for Rent Control. I don't know how that situation would have turned out. It's good to know that the city council Rent Control was there to help, and a lot of people don't know that these services are offered.
They were just so helpful to know that I had people there to help me in that situation and also educate me about things that I didn't know. Wonderful experiences because there was someone there to help me.
The most important thing is putting people at ease to know that they have allies with the Rent Control Office. My name is Tammy Pitt. I am the Rent Regulation Officer for the City of Newark and the Manager for the Division of Rent Control. The Rent Control Office helps tenants understand their legal rights and ultimately that landlords are abiding by the ordinance that was set forth by the mayor and the city council.
We're enforcing our rent control ordinances by making landlords register their units, which keeps housing affordable.
The Rent Control Office monitors rents, making sure that they're legally increased, making sure that landlords are registered annually, and if the landlord is not registered, they're not legally allowed to raise rents. If they are registered, they still have to follow the guidelines of the Consumer Price Index. They can't just raise rents based on how they feel or what they feel is market rate. Constituents will end up in our office when they feel like they are being overcharged for rents. Tenants typically find out that if their rent increases are unfair by talking to other constituents and other tenants where they live. The buildings that are exempt from rent control are public housing, government-funded housing, hotels, and any new build that applies for a 30-year exemption.
My name is LaBelston, and I live in North Newark near Branchbrook Park. And so upon speaking to my building manager, he was the one who suggested that I go down to Rent Control, so I did. They are very informative. They'll give you as much information as possible. That's how I was able to discover that help that Rent Control provides for the tenants in the building.
Hi, my name is Jaquita Mae Perkins. In 2023, I was contacting my landlord about repairs that were needed in my apartment, also rent increases during that time that were against an ordinance, and it was not being rectified.
If tenants come to us with complaints such as no heat, no hot water, leaky roofs, no water at all, we can assist them to get rent deductions by working in coordination with code enforcement to verify that those services were lacking in a home and a landlord is not providing them.
I went to the Rent Control Office and I started a case with them. They contacted my landlord personally and they handled the case.
So I went to the Rent Control Office. I opened up the rent petition. Once they did their investigating, it found out that I was in fact being overcharged.
The board secretary will hear their case, review it with them, and if they have a case, they will be able to apply for a rent rebate, which means the landlord would be expected to pay back all the overage of rent that was paid by the tenant.
The landlords, they listened and they took care of it, and it got rectified, and I received all the rent increases were given back to me and put toward my rent.
They helped me to get my rent lowered to the legal rate. It was significantly less than what I was initially being charged.
I didn't expect what I was going to receive back. But not only did I receive money, so did other tenants.
Because of the success of my experience with rent control, I've also shared that with several people who was in my similar experience as me, and Rent Control was also able to help them.
They were just so helpful. If you think you're being overcharged in rent, or any concerns you have in regards to your apartment, please go to the Rent Control Office. They are there to help you.
Tenants would find the most up-to-date information about rent control on the City of Newark website under Economic and Housing Development tab and under the Rent Control site.